these materials more accessible to defense teams and all other parties.
Concerning archives and the difference between copies and original. The difference is ownership. And that's the reason why so many victims' organizations are interested in originals. I'm coming also from a country where victims' organizations and authorities are interested in the issue. So during the lunch break, I was called by Minister of Culture and he asked me, did you announce that we would be glad in getting archives and that we would take good care of them? Before that, I was contacted by Mayor of Dubrovnik saying, you know, Dubrovnik is ideal place. It's a nice city and it's close to Sarajevo, it's close to Belgrade, it's close to Zagreb and so on. However, I think I share that feeling, that the idea that those documents are ownership of the UN is slightly inhuman. I mean, Charter begins, we the peoples represented here are the peoples that created together United Nations. And concern that I treat as perfectly legitimate is it the right time now? And therefore, I think that this possibility should be considered in due time when all concerns are removed. Concerning the issue raised by one of colleagues, how to use the benefit of human resources, people who are acquainted to those documents, I think they are valuable human resources and that they can be used not only dealing with originals. I agree fully with Dutch professor who said, I mean, for outreach, digital bases are essential. They will be, I think, used in all countries of the region. However, they will not have such a good salary as here.
The weather may be better, however. But I take your point. All right. I think we're about at the wrap-up point. I see, Natasha, if you make it brief, and then what we're going to do, I see another hand from Judge McDonald, so we're going to take those two and then wrap it up, and certainly any of the panelists who care to, please make a final comment. So Natasha Kandic and Judge McDonald. Or we could have done it the other way. My apologies, Judge.
Ja se izvinjavam, ali moram da postavim pitanje.
I apologize, but I have to put this question for the president of the ICTY, Mr. Robinson. Why are representatives of human rights organizations from Kosovo absent at this conference, and why are representatives of state institutions not represented at the conference? It is a great pity.
Okay. Thank you for that. Judge McDonald, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dicker. Natasha gave me courage to make my comment because I understand, I even empathize with your effort to manage, so to speak, the questions that we receive from the audience. Mine is not a question, it's really a comment. It may be my supposition, it may be within everyone's comments and questions about the location of archives. And keeping in mind what the professor from, is it University of Amsterdam? Okay, has said, and that is we have digitalized records and thus no original. It seems to me that the location of the archives has a symbolic value, setting aside an accessing value. And that is, it's kind of in the nature of a memorial of what has transpired and how the community, both the international community and the local communities, attempted to use the rule of law to end this conflict. So I haven't heard that said directly, and it may be my supposition, and it's not me to say, but it seems to me that the location has a symbolic value, and as the decision is made as to where they will be located, I think that we should keep that in mind. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to wrap up this session. I do invite any of the panelists to weigh in with a parting comment. Entirely up to you. Do I see the registrar's hand in motion? I did. Oh, okay.
No, but
well,
there's perhaps one thing that's been on my mind over the last couple of days. We've heard a lot about what the ICTY has done in the former Yugoslavia, but I'd just like to say, and I go back to what I said about how visionary it was when we were set up back in '93. We were the first ever truly international criminal tribunal. Nuremberg and the Tokyo trials were not in the sense of being international. It was set up as a consequence, I believe, of our success. We have had tribunals set up. We've had, of course, ICTY for Cambodia, East Timor, Sierra Leone. We have one now for what took place in the STL, and, of course, a permanent international criminal court. And what I think we are all living through and working in is the establishment, the beginnings of an international criminal justice system. And it's perhaps a bit early for us, but maybe in 30 or 40 years' time, those who are now young will be able to look back and see that just how significant the ICTY was globally in terms of developing an international criminal justice system, and that may end up being our greatest legacy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Professor, please.
Well, Mr. Hawking has raised the institutional legacy, which is something that we haven't discussed very much in the past 2 days. And we've also, I think, not paid a lot of attention to the legal legacy either, and they complement each other. The ICTY jurisprudence on rape and sexual violence and the possibility of using it showing it as an instrument of genocide, identifying new modes of liability, expanding on rights of the accused, developing rules of procedure and evidence, practices by judges, prosecutors, and defense counsel, and the rigor and professionalism with which these proceedings have been conducted open a whole new world of law and international justice. And something we need to pay attention to is transplanting that to not just the national jurisdictions in the Balkans, but globally, and deciding what transplants well and what doesn't, because not everything will transplant. It'll vary by international court and by national system. The sooner that we can analyze that and distill it and get it into commentary, the higher the probability that it will be appropriately transplanted. So I very much endorse President Robinson's suggestion the other day that we turn to the legal legacy of the tribunal at a later date in the not-too-distant future.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor?
Yeah, very, very briefly, in relation to one of the questions asked, staff from the tribunal to be used in the region. The young lawyers, we are integrating our office for up to 6 months. We are giving priority to future prosecutors and young professionals from the prosecution offices. By doing so, we know that those colleagues will be in the system, will be integrated in the system afterwards. Perhaps as closing remark from my side, yesterday one of the journalists came with this question to me saying, I have understood that you are going with the tribunal until 2014. Why are you making this conference now? Is this not much too early? I do not remember what I said, but of course I was thinking about this question afterwards, and In fact, it's not too early, and I don't think it's too late. What I've experienced in those 2 days, it's for sure that we can still impact on our legacy by finishing the cases, by making sure that the fugitives are arrested, by making sure that this transition and cooperation is functioning even better, and by keeping, if not increasing, the communication we had in a quite intense way those days. And I very much encourage the victims' organizations to keep speaking out about what they think, about what they feel, especially to those who sometimes think that this is the past, who want to turn the page, and who are thinking that the activities of the tribunal are not so important anymore. So I really use this opportunity to encourage the victims to continue their work, to thank them for the support they are giving to our work. And I think it was a really very, very important discussion we had, and this dialogue must continue.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, I see the president here, or I thought I saw the president here. I don't mind deferring. You don't? Okay. Please, Minister Simonovic, your comments.
I do not know. Will there be an opportunity to do that during wrap-up session? Therefore, I'm doing it now. I wanted to thank organizers of this conference. It was very valuable, I think, for a lot of stakeholders, including states within the mandate of ICTY. Now, I have already expressed my views on the importance of ICTY for the countries in the region, but I would like to emphasize its importance in developing international criminal adjudication. I think for hundreds of years, from the trial of Peter von Hagenbach to Nuremberg, we were having a situation when, after the conflict, war criminals on the defeated side have been prosecuted. It was really a novelty that all perpetrators of war crimes could be targeted and could be prosecuted by the International Tribunal. In this respect, I think that it was a major step towards establishment of International Criminal Court, and I think I entirely agree that its legal practice should be elaborated and researched. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Minister Arnault, please.
I will give a very brief comment. Undoubtedly, the contribution given by the ICTY, both in terms of procedural law and the development of criminal law, as well as the scope